Joining me now at FreedomFest is Keith Weiner. He's the founder of the Gold Standard Institute. He's also a contributor on Kitco.com. Keith, good to have you on the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Keith, tell us a little bit about the Institute and what your goals are.
So fairly simply, the goal is to have honest money. More broadly than that, there have been gold standard people and gold standard advocates for many years, but they haven't necessarily gotten traction. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to reach out to the average person and make an argument that makes sense.
Now, what are you doing to try and get gold and silver recognized as currencies?
So we've done a couple of things. First of all, I've given testimony. Arizona, for example, has been working for 2 years on trying to pass a bill to recognize gold and silver, both as legal tender and to remove the taxes that people are subject to when they sell their gold and silver. Of course, if you bought gold at, let's say, $800 an ounce, today it's $13.30 or whatever it is, well, the government's going to say that's a $530 profit, and they're going to tax you at whatever rate, depending on short or long term. That tax is a strong disincentive to let go of the gold, so people are going to tend to want to hoard it rather than to allow it to circulate.
Now, how big is your institute and how wide is your reach?
The institute is just a small number of people, mostly volunteer at this stage. We're a new organization. Reach is international. I'm published on Kitco, I'm published on Forbes. There have been many translations of my articles in German, in Spanish, and other languages.
No, you're right. And I know you have a booth here at FreedomFest and you're a speaker here. So are people coming up to you? Are they enthusiastic? Are they supportive of the Institute? What's the feedback?
Pretty much everybody here at FreedomFest is like, oh yeah, right on, we should have the gold standard. Our challenge, as it were, is to reach out to the rest of the world and convince these people why, why gold makes sense.
Do you think that most people are educated about the metal?
In one sense, no, but in one sense, yes. And I'm sure, as you're aware, if you show people a gold coin, they don't recognize it and so forth. But I think there's a mystique. There's a whole sort of mythology of gold. Why do we still today talk about the gold standard of, and somebody could mention a car, where this is the gold standard of freedom-oriented conferences? Right. There's all of this language. Nobody would ever dare say the paper standard or the dollar standard.
Now, have you spoken to any very public personas about the gold standard? Obviously, Ron Paul, Steve Forbes, supportive of a return to a gold standard. Have they contacted you?
We're in discussions with various folks. I think I have to be careful in pre-announcing, relationships and so forth. But yes, absolutely. What's interesting, and in Europe too, and in Asia, there was a lot of interest suddenly, and I think this would not have been possible before the crisis of 2008, and now suddenly there's this interest.
So before I let you go, if you had to choose what's the best benefit of returning to a gold standard, if you had to try and convince me this is the single reason we should really return to a gold standard, what would you tell me?
They can't rob you of your savings. I think that's the proposition to the average person who works for a living. They can't take your money and devalue it.
All right. Keith Weiner, on that note, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for watching our coverage here at FreedomFest. You can email us any feedback, comments, or questions, and use feedback at Kitco.com. Thank you for watching.